Where's my timer? There it is. Hello. Okay, so I'm trying a new camera. This is my Huawei. I'm still using a tablet. I mean, I have, I have a, well, I was, okay. I have a GoPro. I'm not going to use that for these. And it's not that the GoPro wouldn't work. I'm sure it would work perfectly fine. But I haven't set it up yet. So, as I was kind of describing in another video earlier, um, with the hardware comes the software, and this is where I suck. I am a freaking train wreck, literally. I mean, it's a great ride, but I am literally a train wreck. So when it comes to figuring stuff out and getting stuff done, I'm pretty good. But um, sometimes I sort of get a little ahead of myself, and it's a typical thing where you open up a package, throw out all the cardboard and stuff like that, and start putting something together, and then realizing that the instructions were in the package, and you didn't even think to. Anyways, there are others, and lots of people I've 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 hung out with who immediately go to the package, they open it up, they grab the instructions, they lay out all the pieces and count them and make sure that they weren't ripped off. The manufacturers were trying to save 1/10 of a penny by not giving you all your screws or whatever the thought process there is, but making sure, and this is good, that all the parts were there before beginning the project. Me, I sort of just jump right in, find out that I probably shouldn't have been deep diving in a shallow pool, and once again I'm sort of jury rigging stuff as I go, and that is neither here nor there. What that means is that I haven't downloaded any of the software to go with the GoPro, and I haven't got it to work very well with my computer. And yesterday I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, I'm gonna have to get an audio video card because my computer's not made for that. It has a base one built in, and yeah, it's not made for it. So anyways, what happens is I end up using my tablet or my other tablet now, and this is the first time I've used the Huawei tablet, and apparently the camera on these things is fantastic. As the camera is showing, it's a widescreen camera, so you can sort of see mostly the ceiling at this point, but anyways, you can sort of see different angles of my working space here. But having said that, it's not set up properly. I don't have any of the lighting set up properly. The audio hasn't been set up. The other day, 2 days ago now, I finally got my microphone working, and I haven't got a P shield. It's a hiss. Anyways, it's a pop filter, right? So it just stops that popping P sound that you get when you're talking. Anyway, so I got my speakers working, but I had to actually run them through a base, because the system came as a base, which was the power source, and then the speakers, and my computer wouldn't find the speakers without the base periphery piece, so I had to plug it all in. Now when I turn it on, it goes thump. And it reminds me of this car I had, like years and years ago. I had bought this car that was basically just a stereo on wheels. It was like $7,000 worth of stereo equipment on $200 worth of car. It was a Toyota Corolla, awesome little car actually. I kind of loved it. But it was used in the sound offs here on the Vancouver Island, and the guy who I bought it from, he won the sound offs. So the car was actually the winner in the sound offs 2 years in a row. And they used to listen to Enigma, which was a band, to do the sound offs, and we would go for long drives and stuff, and we'd listen to Enigma, and if you sit anywhere in the car, you would get perfect sound reproduction. And it was just the way he had set it up was just awesome. So I would drive around with the sound blaring, and it wouldn't be uncomfortable blaring because of the way that he had set it up, but if I started tweaking anything, of course I'd make a mess of it. Anyways, having said that, you get that woof when you turn on the speakers now, and they're just little speakers, but this big bass is sort of attached to it, so it does the pre-bass and then runs through the speakers, which are mid or low range tweeter type speakers. Anyways, so that was my foray into doing the audio. But the point was, when I look at this camera and I don't know what the audio is going to sound like on the Huawei, I've heard a lot of really good things, and I've seen a lot of really good pictures, and I see the visual on the camera on the Huawei is really, really good. But I'm finding that the tablet itself is a little odd. It's got these weird glitches, and I'm not sure why. So usually when a tablet or any electronic device, my cell phones or a tablet or whatever, drains battery quickly, it's because there's programs running in the background that you want to shut down. Okay, so my battery drains pretty quickly, and I go to shut it down, and then I go to shut it down, and unfortunately I can't find any programs running in the background. So I'm asking myself, well, why is that? And I'm not usually one of those conspiracy theory tinfoil hat type guys, but if I can't find the programs that are running in the background that are eating up battery space, then are there sub programs behind there that are running that I can't turn off? So I've made sure that I didn't give my Huawei any permissions. I don't do like any of my banking or anything on my Huawei, and I'm not going to. And you know, tinfoil hat and all, whether I'm right or wrong is irrelevant. I already do all my stuff on my cell phone, but I don't feel I want to add that information to the Huawei for a couple of reasons. One is because I don't need all of my devices to do my banking on. I have my cell phone and sometimes my tablet, and of course my computer. So I mean that's more than enough. But to add it to a second tablet or to a third cell phone or whatever, it just seems a little pointless, a little redundant, and it means that either I'm stupid or lazy. I'm too stupid to find my phone, or I'm too lazy to go get it. So irregardless, one or the other. The point is that it doesn't need to have that information, so I haven't given my Huawei any slack. I'm not cutting it any. Giving it no quarter, cutting it any slack. I don't know how I want to say this. Anyways, the point is, so I'm checking out the Huawei to see how the camera works and how good the picture and sound quality are. So I'm making a second video today just to sort of give it a dry run, and we're going to see how this goes. Now, I had some things I did want to talk about because there was some news that there was a crypto bank that opened in the States, which means that it can act as a bank. And that's really, really cool. That means that Bitcoin has a bit more of a leg up from where it is. But I heard something, one of the people that sort of touts Bitcoin, and they said something that I thought was just blatantly incorrect. And I understand why they said it. I get it, but it's pretty much misinformation. The comment went something like, okay, well, now that cryptocurrencies have a bank, like an actual bank that's been approved by the federal government, that pretty much says that cryptocurrencies will never be shut down. So it insinuates that it gives cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these things the validity it's been looking for to be considered, as good as gold or better than gold or the next monetary standard and blah, blah, blah. Banks are shut down all the time. It doesn't give it, it gives it a leg up in the sense that it makes it easier to finance in cryptocurrency, it's still speculative. About as speculative as the Canadian or the American dollar. So if they say that an American bank can be shut down, a, a fiat currency bank can be shut down, then so can a cryptocurrency bank. It doesn't validate the space just because one bank in the States, Kraken, has been opened to facilitate those sorts of transactions. It's one bank. And it's a milestone. That's granted, it's a milestone. There's companies right now that are putting all of their eggs into the cryptocurrency or Bitcoin basket because they feel it's the most stable, and it's actually not. It's actually the most volatile of all of the places where you can park your money. It has wild swings, wilder than the stock market or gold or silver or anything else. It has huge volatility where it can just jump and sink and lose you huge amounts of money on such a short notice that it's not any more valid as a unit of count than, say, the dollar or silver or gold or anything else that you want to invest in. Wheat. There was something else I was thinking about. It was what was it? If I wanted to call feathers money, then as long as somebody else takes my feathers, that's fine. It works. Cryptocurrency. So when I hear somebody say, well, they won't create another Bitcoin, they do it all the time. It'll never be as strong as Bitcoin. The one thing Bitcoin has is just time behind it, which these other ones are putting in their time. And there's a finite amount, 21 million, that are going to be minted, of which 6 million are presumed lost. So what is that? Anyways, so if you have 15 million and you're sitting on just a finite amount, and you've narrowed, or you have digitized it or created or split it up so many times that a Satoshi is worth 1/1000th or 1/10,000th of Bitcoin, and that's all there is, and that's all there ever will be. You do get to a point, because it's finite, where they're unlike gold and fiat currency. There can only be so many. Once every Satoshi is owned, nobody else can get into the space. It's just going from hand to hand to hand. Can it be used as money? Absolutely. It can be used as a unit of account. The problem being the let's say the population continues to increase, then that finite issuance becomes problematic. You cannot rewrite the code, or you can if you want. I mean, if 51% of the space decides to let the chain rewrite the code so that it creates twice as many Satoshis, which it'll never do because it touts the fact there's only 21 million, which gives you so many Satoshis, then eventually buying just one Satoshi would be beyond the means of most people. So how does that benefit society? And I had that discussion about two people going into a grocery store in the middle of, a Mad Max thing, and one guy's got a gold coin and a silver coin, and the other guy's got his cell phone. And they both want a loaf of bread, but the store owner doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't trust cryptocurrency, doesn't have internet service because they're in the middle of nowhere. Tumbleweeds rolling by. He'll take the gold and the coin and the silver because he can test them quickly and say, yes, those are real. I'll take that. Here's your bread. The guy with the cryptocurrency is going, but it's in there. I have, and I could give you cryptocurrency. And the guy's saying, dude, don't have it. Or my cell phone service doesn't work right now, or I don't have enough money for internet, or whatever. whatever the reason. This one implies that the smallest unit of account, a Satoshi, is worth $1,000, and the loaf of bread is $5. What do you do? Anyways, so hundreds and hundreds of years into the future, I understand that. Not a big deal. But it's not that it couldn't happen, because anything can happen. But if you keep removing those Bitcoin from the market by losing them or losing the passcode and all this sort of stuff, and then you tell people not to put them onto exchanges, but there's hackings of hard wallets, and the programming when you dive in and then you dive out, people can actually piggyback that, hack it, and blackmail you for your cryptocurrency. I mean, it's not that there isn't a million other things that you can and cannot do. I think it lends itself to an awful lot of really, really smart people, smarter than me, who can manipulate that system. And either you're not giving them enough credit, or you're giving me too much credit. Like I say, man, I'm a train wreck. It's a fun ride, but I am literally a train wreck. I wouldn't know how to. I mean, I understand the concept of blockchain. It's not difficult. But to create a blockchain, I would have to really. I mean, I'm sure I could learn. Ivan on Tech gives you a course on it, how to create a blockchain. But does it mean I'm going to do it? No. Does it mean that it would be successful? Of course not. And Bitcoin may be the main granddaddy of them all for cryptocurrencies. That's perfectly fine. But don't tell me it doesn't have issues. And if anybody feels that, say, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, the yuan, anything is going to be the unit of account going forward for all civilizations, then there's just one little problem. America has the largest standing army on the planet. Do you think they're going to give up the hegemony of the American dollar anytime soon without a fight? And do you think anybody wants to have that fight? Yes, there are large countries that are not on America's side that want to, bypass the petrodollar or the American dollar in trade and surplus, and they can do that. They're large economies. They can do that. But there's a handful, as opposed to how many countries are there? And they're all working on, North America's side. And then you got these over here doing something outside of that. Not a winning bet. I would not bet on that side. I would bet on this side, just like I would bet on the Fed, constantly pumping money into the financial system and feeding the banks liquidity in order to keep the stock market and the real estate market up in the air. They've been doing it for 20 years now. Japan's been doing it for 20, almost 30 years. It's not that it can't happen. It is happening. And if you want to bet on, because like I've invested in stocks and bonds and gold and silver and cryptocurrencies, because you're supposed to diversify. And I'm going to get a chunk of land would be the one thing I want to do. But if I was to hedge my bets on, let's say, art, which is subjective, nobody needs it, but it's subjective. Cryptocurrencies, dollars, whatever. It's best if you just take the whole and slice it into even pieces and feed everybody. Because then 3 of 5 fail, but at least you have 2 to stand on. So you haven't lost everything. The same reason they don't buy numismatic gold. Or really, what if Lynette Zhang is right? Wouldn't you just have 2 or 3 numismatics because they would confiscate it? And if you're worried about them confiscating gold, buy silver. I don't think I've ever heard of anybody ever confiscating silver. Strange. They come and get grandma's cutlery because, she's got silver-plated cutlery. I think my grandma did. Can't remember. Throat is killing me. There's a lot of smoke in the air still from all the wildfires that are happening down south. Anyways, I wanted to sort of bring that up because I felt that it was important. And it's a good chance for me to use my Huawei tablet because even though I trust it, I don't trust it. Shh, don't tell nobody. I don't know what the audio is going to sound like. In the video, as far as I could tell, it looks fine. But is it going to be effective? I don't know. I know you can hear the beeping in the background. I'm not in a studio. I'm in an apartment here, and it's not even a studio apartment. So you're going to hear like background noise, and I've got two completely retarded cats just sort of sitting here, freaking out at the sound. Anyways, not a big deal. So I've decided that there are when I do the scratch art, the scratch tattoo type art stuff that I draw, I'm going to, like, I do originals on, I do the brainstorming, the test on paper, thick bond. Then I do it again on board, and then I do the final on canvas. And the finals on canvas are going to be sold. The originals on board, the ones that I create onto an actual piece of wood, are going to be the originals that I keep because there's only one of each. Down the road, I'm going to sell them. I just haven't decided when and where. What I thought was I would have a contest for those interested. I would auction them off, or for a degree of, if you donate a certain amount of money to a certain cause, you'll be put into a draw to get a wooden original, because there's only one of each. Every one that I draw, I do on a hardboard, and then since they're one of each, they're one of a kind, they're going to be originals. Anyways, so it was all about advertising. That was one of the main things. The best way to advertise is to give back. And I like the idea of, I was having a conversation on one of these videos about carrying around Tim Hortons cards because nobody carries cash anymore. And if I found somebody in need, said, do you got $5 for a cup of coffee? Oh, here's a Tim card. And that's sort of giving back to the smallest degree. It's the least I can do, literally the least I can do. But anyways, it's something as opposed to nothing. So when I incorporated the content into the website just yesterday, and I have all these, I guess they're poems. Some of them are like literally one-page stories and all this. They're descriptors or whatever, and they're part of the novella set that I have, the books that I'm writing. I went back and I was writing a book yesterday, and I got I started it out, and then I tore it up, and I thought, well, it made no sense. My head was, I don't know, no idea what was going on. I went back, I started it again, and I wrote out literally like half of the book in one sitting, and I'm just kind of like, oh, it actually sounds really good, because I was explaining what the scenario was, which I don't always do. This one required it because it actually is it's scientifically founded on some sort of base. Sure. Anyways, so it is a story about astronomy, and it is a doomsday, doom and gloom sort of story, but it's curious. It's interesting. I mean, it is what it is, and it's not the only one I have. I mean, I have two of them now, where there's something happens in outer space, and then there's one that is there's two of them that are actually something happening on Earth, where science goes amok, and I guess just like some creators who would blast out 20, 30 books in the sense of their career. In their case, it was quantity instead of quality. I have the ideas in my head, and I don't have 2 years to spend on each book to make it perfect. I just want the story out there, and then it becomes part of a conversation. Um, anyways, the science end of it is harder because you have to sort of you have to go off some sort of common sense and some sort of scientific backing. There has to be some kernel of truth in behind there, otherwise it's simply not believable. Um, the other one, which is, this one was astronomy, so I kind of had to study a bit. The other one was scientific, and I sort of had to study a bit. A lot of it is it's still guesswork. It's not like I didn't take the rules of the game. I didn't take the actual scientific studies and information and go letter for letter on what it is that's being done and what could be done. The point of the story is to embellish, to tell a story. It is fiction or not real. So I took a few liberties when I was writing the story. I just wanted it to be entertaining. I thought, it's not a shock scare tactic thing. I just thought, wouldn't it be interesting if this one fringe theory about astronomy turned out to be true, and everybody was like, "Oh!" So, anyways, yeah. So that story ended up coming out as I was writing the story yesterday, and I was coming to the end of what I thought was going to be, the final pages of the story. I went back because I paused for a moment. I went back to read the beginning, and I went, I don't even think I introduced the characters on this one. I think I just went right into the story because I was so adamant to get the story out and told that I forgot to personalize it. And that's a major failure when it comes to writing stories, right? I don't want to have people fall in love with the characters or understand why they brush their hair to the left. I just need them to know that this character, for whatever reason, has certain attributes and habits that cause it to come to these certain conclusions and understandings. So that's the part I forgot to do. I forgot to sort of introduce the character and why he's and she sort of view things the way they do and are reacting in such a way that isn't hysterical, even though the world around them is burning. Wow, give the story away, dude. Anyway, so that was sort of how it turned out. Now, I'm going to cut this video kind of short because I just wanted to, like I say, I'm just testing the huawei and just figuring out if this is going to be formatable and if it's going to be perfectly fine. I don't know how many videos I'm getting to now. I guess when I get to 50 videos, I'm going to be able to say, hey, I've got like 50 videos if anybody wants to watch me ramble on and just, while they're not absolutely paying attention, at least listen to me talk about absolutely nothing and being completely irrelevant. And I got a pole sticking on my head. The point would be it's entertainment. It is just content, and hopefully I get people talking and thinking. I'm crossing my fingers and really hoping that when I do advertise these things out and people start to pay attention, that I get feedback in which feeds my imagination even further. So the more I get in, the more I put out, the more, it's like anybody else. They'll make videos and want to say, well, this is my video on blah, blah, blah. Text me, message me, email me, what sort of things do you want me to look into or study or talk about, and then we'll go from there. Because a lot of them, it's not that they're running out of content, they have a lot of their own ideas, but being a content creator, you don't know what would be considered even remotely interesting to most people. So you just sort of go off of what you find interesting and base the whole concept of creating your videos on that. It's nice to have some some feedback from people that are watching you anyways, or find your stuff at least remotely interesting, and then that would be a good place to start, and a great source of information and insight. So hopefully you guys do feedback. You guys do come back and check out more videos and let me know if what I say makes any sense at all. And maybe I should brush my hair on the other direction. I don't know, because it's right on your side, left on mine. Anyways, have a great day, and I'll talk to you again.